evening. An entire town is preparing to evacuate and thousands...
Far Northerners pitched in too, helping to save their own.
We've just taken dogs, cats.
Within 20 minutes or so, it was at the feet, so I jumped in the car, just made it out.
The Defence Force has stepped up, offering to move 150 emergency service personnel from Townsville to Cairns, as well as aerial support. Around 300 people are tonight in evacuation centres. That will likely rise, with the flood damage already widespread.
There's so many houses in there that are just devastated. So many people have lost everything.
But the exact scale of that loss won't be understood for days when the waters recede.
To Cairns now, where 150,000 residents have been told to stay in their homes. Southern Cross Austereo announcer Mark Littler has endured 2 disasters in 5 days. Mark joins us now. Mark, you're now running out of water.
Yes, that's right, Sandra. Critical conditions for the reservoirs. In fact, they basically run out of water a couple of hours ago. About 250 people were rescued last night, and just some amazing stories coming out of that. People being rescued with their neighbours' tinny. Just the Barron River behind me here, some residents were fishing out some livestock that were just floating down the river. And a lot of our listeners today on the Triple M network were telling us how they have opened up their homes to their spare bedrooms for those people that are in shelters that might spend another night in those shelters. But hopefully those warnings go down. Still a lot of water coming down from the catchments. And Sandra, it is very early in the wet season. It is December. We still have another 3 months of the wet season here in Far North Queensland.
Yes, Mark, that's alarming enough. Our thoughts are with you all, and let's hope you all stay safe. It's already being described as $1 billion flood. Landslips have closed major highways, roads have been ruptured, and the power, as we just heard, is still out.
In Holloway's Beach, bitumen obliterated.
I don't know what to say. It's a really horrid situation.
Landslips have closed the Gillies Range, the Palmerston, Captain Cook and Mulligan highways off limits.
By the time it started coming up, it was just over everything. So lost cars, lost homes.
Pipes connecting Cairns' northern beaches washed away. Bottled water will be trucked in. Power too is a major concern. More than 40,000 people were plunged into darkness when Jasper unleashed on Wednesday night. Almost all had been reconnected, but now 14,000 are again without power. Cairns Airport, the gateway to the north, still closed after the Barron River burst its banks and swamped the runway. The clean-up beginning, but a long way from over.
For more on this developing situation, we're joined live by reporter Beck Dent in Cairns. Beck, what is the latest?
Good morning, Ursula. Look, it is absolutely incredible and devastating scenes as we are actually entering into the areas that were most affected in Cairns. This morning, as we were driving in, those record flood waters, as you were talking about, receding to reveal a road that has been ripped up and thrown about basically like sheets of ribbon, and businesses absolutely decimated. But it wasn't until we were able to drive into these communities where locals are able to, as you say, access their properties today after being evacuated over the weekend, that we were able to actually get a glimpse of the devastation, the impact that this flood of water has had on this community. As you can see behind us, this home has absolutely been totaled. A torrent of water has flown through it. And this is just one example of many in this community. There is yet to be as emergency crews, and obviously as the councils are able to come on in and assess the damage, we'll be able to assess how we'll be able to rebuild from here.
Beck, how does it feel to see this devastation from a local's perspective?
Oh, it's hard. It's hard. Sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional. As a local myself, when one of us hurts, we all hurt. I was one of the lucky ones on the other side of the Barron River, and I was in a high-set house away from the devastation. And it was really hard and felt very helpless. But I know that the locals are banding together, trying to turn this devastation and destruction into hope and do something helpful, with so many plans at the moment, donations, mud armies being formed in order to help. With me right now, I actually have the neighbour of this home who can actually speak further to the situation and what it was actually like on ground during those harrowing hours over the weekend. Chris, you experienced it. Your neighbour, an elderly lady, had to be evacuated. What was it like here in the community of Holloways?
It was quite confronting. Everyone was aware that the flood was coming in, but it was the magnitude of the flood that was the issue. Some people have lost everything, but everyone at the moment has no water and electricity, so that's quite a challenge, particularly for clean-up. You can't actually use clean water. There's no water.
And obviously, as people start coming back into the community, being able to see the devastation, being able to see what has happened to their home, we have a really long road ahead. We wish you all the best in the clean-up, Chris, and obviously our thoughts are with you and the entire community.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ursula, we're going to be travelling around today through this community, being able to see hear from the residents themselves and see the devastation firsthand. But the one thing that Far North Queenslanders have been saying to me, everybody in the community, we are resilient and we will rebuild together.
Well, thanks, Beck. You certainly will. I appreciate it.
The worst affected suburbs are a series of beach towns north of Cairns, where communities which once thrived are now mired in misery.
Just north of Machin's, Graham McQuaid cleans out the home of a neighbour at Holloways Beach.
Just devastating to see what's going on here. Just the elderly people just lost everything.
Several Far North businesses have also been wiped out. At Yorkie's Knob, the go-kart course had been cleared up on Saturday, but was swamped by water just hours later.
Pretty shattered. Everything went under. This was the highest it's ever been.
Cairns Golf Centre 2, the par 3, now covered in chunks of bitumen.
I've never seen anything like it. It's crazy.
People like Jenna Smith, who has launched a flood appeal on Facebook, running supplies to communities in desperate need.
That's the whole idea, is that getting the people that, fall through the cracks or, too proud to help, and just seeing this today with all the food and stuff, that's what they need straight away.
The Far North showing what it's made of in the toughest of times. Take a look at these pictures here. A man was seen on a surfboard going in between it. Quite dangerous, as this water's clearly an example as to how powerful this storm was. Unfortunately, people trapped on the other side, well, they haven't been able to get any supplies or any food. That is being ferried over. Police and the SES are there at the moment. It's become a bit of a sore point or a watching point for locals. But again, this is a clear sign of how powerful these floods were, and as clean-up continues. Sandra.
From where we were in the water, they're huge, so that you can see the trauma it's caused for that coastal area.
Tourist boats now the only way in and out. Tourists ferried out.
It's a rough place to get stuck in Port Douglas. I think we're down to 2 days of margaritas remaining.
The Timms family reunited in Cairns.
Oh my God, 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 oh my God. Oh, please.
A mother and daughter separated for 13 days, a school holiday trip to visit grandparents interrupted by a natural disaster.
This is the longest we've ever been apart.
Really good that I was able to make it home before Christmas.
Glimmers of light in the midst of so much devastation and loss. Matt Johnston for 10 News First.
With the immediate risk to life now over, Premier Stephen Miles surveys the damage wrought days before Christmas. The state opposition leader too. But not everyone is happy to see Queensland politicians parading around the tropics.
Throughout the whole situation, we haven't had any support at all from any government-funded agency here. This is all 100% donations through the community.
And thousands of homes and businesses are still in the dark. The start of another summer of disaster that will cost billions.
Well, the Minister for Disaster Recovery was only sworn in the day before this disaster began. Nikki Boyd joins us now from our local Disaster Coordination Centre. Minister, thanks for your time. You have hit the ground running, haven't you?
Absolutely, Sandra. We're standing shoulder to shoulder with the people of Far North Queensland. This has been a really unique disaster, and when we've seen we're moving in some instances from that initial response into a recovery phase, and to do that we've got an amazing frontline team for the people of the Far North, and we've also today launched our charitable causes as well. So we're asking people from right around the country to dig deep and to to donate to help the people of Far North Queensland out.
All right, Minister Nikki Boyd, thank you so much for your time tonight.